I think that's
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate your opinion. And it's true that the trauma is caused by some bad experiences as well. So, okay, should we continue to another slide? Right. Okay. So when we are talking about trauma and brain, it has the connection with the early relationships. So as you can see here, there are many things that connected with our brain. The first one here is that it doesn't have always to be the first one, but one of the things here is childhood bad memories, and it has direct connection with our brain. So our brain is the center of like how the human body works and controls what we're doing and what we're processing, what kind of information that's going on in our body. And also the bad actions captured here in the brain may not work so well in an ordinary environment. So what it means here is that when you communicate with the other or like your parents, your neighbors, and all that stuff with that environment, and you associate with them. So that's how your brain can capture all of that. And also, as you can see on the screen, latent vulnerability. So it's like an early abusive from like with the carers, it could be your parents, your brother, siblings, or anyone that can take care of you, but it's like they are putting you at a high risk of experiencing mental health problem in the future. So as you guys can see on the screen, there are several questions there of how like the trauma. Do you remember one of your bad childhood memories? So I'm gonna ask this question to one of you here, or like maybe three of you here. Okay. Okay, Sophie Anand. Miss Sophie, would you like to say something
Yeah, sorry,
in
what was the
during this?
okay, all right. Yeah, this is very interesting. I think one of the childhood memories that I can ever forget is when I got the comparison um between not comparison actually, but um my family put me as a bad example. So there is a one time that I'm not really good at behave, like like most of our parents, or yeah, Asian parents, when they got mad, we don't have to answer that. We just need to stay silent and listen to all their words, right? But I'm the type of kid that only I always answering if I think that doesn't make sense, or if I think that I'm not the one who's wrong. And when I did that, all the uncles and aunties put me as the bad example of my little cousin. For example, like when my little cousin doing the same things, that said like, you want to end it up like Sophie, like that's what really you ended up when you're doing that. You don't want to be a bad person like Sophie, right? So I it stuck on my head for years, because I was there when my uncles and aunties told their kids about related to the sentence. And I think it's kind of like not traumatizing more now. I already like think that's so funny, but I think like, oh, that's very interesting. I'm a bad example. I think that's it.
Right, yeah. So being compared to your siblings or to the others, to the other people may not work so well when we were little, but like as long as we grew up, then we can already know like, okay, this thing could be really interesting or could be funny, but at the same time, you might be very offended if it's too hurting for you or maybe too painful, right? So based on your bad childhood memory, does it still affect you until right now, or how?
Yeah, actually it is really a fact. I think the way I think and the way I behave now, it's completely the opposite. Sorry, I'm eating something, and it's completely the opposite of what my parents and my grandparents told me. when when I was a kid, I always be a good girl and like a good kid, as
Okay.
I'm trying to become a good kid, a perfect kid, that one that that they want me to be. And I think that's never enough, and I always have mistakes in front of their eyes, like no matter how hard I'm trying. So now I live alone, like far away from my city, far away from my all of my family. I can do everything, and I just like fuck it, like I'm sorry, it's a little bit rude, but like you can't tell me anymore to do this thing and this thing. Like I think I'm mature enough to decide whatever happened to my life.
Okay, literally whatever happens in your life, or like some things that you still allow your parents to do that or not.
Literally, actually, like every single field, like there is a long discussion with my parents, like okay, we can accept that you're doing this and this, but can you please not doing this? I said no, I want to do it. Like I don't need any permission anymore. It's kind of rude, but I talk to them politely with a very polite words and with a very good condition. And I was trying to make my parents understand that um your kid is only it's not a kid anymore. Like she's an adult now, like, and she has a right to decide whatever he want to pursue in her life. And but I promise you to keep you updated for every single activities and every single dream that I would like to pursue in my future. Don't worry, I'm not gonna forget you, but uh I won't be able to ask you permission anymore. I think that's how the big effect of how my parents raised me and how the environment um give me example, and then and what kind of person am I being now. I think that's
Yeah.
very connected. Yeah.
Okay, so based on that story, do you feel like you are enough free right now as you want it to be like in the past? Or how much free are you, do you feel now?
That's very fun question. Yeah, I completely feel free. Like I can do literally anything. And I hope I am not doing criminal thing, because freedom
Yeah, for
has
sure
limits.
not.
Freedom still has limits, and there are a lot of things new here, because I grew up in Asian country, and now I live in European country, which is very different culture, different habit, different point of view. But it gives me like um some sort of new thing every single day. So there are a lot of things that we could be able to explore and experience. And I think um in term the fact that I'm no longer I'm living alone, I think that gives me so much freedom to choose or to decide
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah, because I think also that like some abusive or like, neglectful way of parenting, it can also lead us to be a really quiet person in the next future. So we're afraid to express ourselves. That's why a really good parenting should be really included and not conservative, of course. So here in the chat box, we have two people say that like say no to be people pleasure because that's inspired for like by your story. And then the next one here say that say no to psychopath. Yeah, that's true because we live our world here. and we're not here to be people pleasure. So, yeah. Okay. And next question here is that how does it affect or how does it change you over the years in a bad or a good way? Like, what's the result of it?
Okay, I hope this is the last question for me because there is one participant raising him.
Yes, sure. We're gonna move there.
Can you repeat? Sorry, I didn't really hear.
Yeah, so how does it change you over the years in a bad or a good way, like the childhood memory that you had?
Oh, okay, that's very interesting. I think there are a couple of years, there is particular years in my life that I'm blaming my parents, and I have a actually a beside of my parenting style of my parents, which I think not really affected, and I can't blame them because they also grew up with my grandparents styling, a style of parenting. Uh, and then I blaming them and like, do you know, mom, like I become this kind of person because you did this to me when I was a kid. Like my mom is very physical attack kind of mom. So I got like punch a lot, like hit, kick, whatever in my during my childhood. And my mom like tend to use rude words as well, and it really stuck on my head until I grew up. And I blame my mom, like, why did you do this to me? Like, I becomes I have some kind of personalities because of the way you raise me. But I'm really grateful that my mom really open about the discussion, and I feel bad like she keep apologizing. Like, I'm also new, like I've been a parent when I was 23 years old. My parents married in the very young age, so they don't have that much knowledge to be a parent as well. I can't completely just blaming them and put put them put the blame to them 100%. You know what I mean? And then there is a
Yeah.
couple years after all the blame, depression, and whatsoever, I finally accept my childhood. When I heard some stories that worse than me in my circle, that they have
Mm-hmm.
their parents divorced, and they got adopted, they got stepsister, stepbrother. It's really hard for them to grow up, and I said, oh, I'm actually lucky enough to grow up in my family, so I shouldn't be complaining anymore. And we can actually choose which parents we born with. That's all out of our control. So just admit it and just accept it. And now I'm in acceptance phase. I think that's all fine
Oh,
for me
you're in
now.
the progress of it. Right. So first of all, I'm really sorry for you that like you had to go through of it. And yeah, thank you so much for being brave enough to share this story. I mean, not everyone can do that. So I really appreciate it. Right. So we're moving on to the next participant here. I see Miss Ira was raising her hands.
I
Would you like to
okay.
share some of or one of your stories?
It's quite same like Miss Sophie before, but it's like in my case it's siblings comparison. So I was the last child in my family. I was the youngest one in my family, and my mom used to like very strict to me. Like I should do the same thing like my sister did. So I need to like do this because like your sister did this. So every time I need to do something, like always my mom like see what is my action, like hey, your sister does like this, why you don't try to be like your sister? So it's like, oh, it's just kind of like, it's like kind of nerve-wracking for me at that time because I was still very young. I was still in like elementary school. Even until now, I'm in my first year in university. Still, it's still happening. But I used to like try to blaming my mom at that time when I was still in elementary school to middle school and high school. I think I was doesn't really mature enough. So I was thinking like, oh, my mom always did this to me because she just loved my sister. She doesn't love me, or she just, but as the time goes by now, I understand why my mom did that to me because she just loves me. She just wants the best for myself because my sister already like, we just have like quite big age gap year between my sister and also me. So, and also I would say now she already becoming independent. She's got married. She has a kid, and he has a good husband. He has like really good career. That's why my mom want me to be like my sister, which is like have a really nice life. So that's why my mom always put my sister as
Kenapa ya?
like a big, as a
Aku
nice
nggak dapat. Yang
capture
saya dulu itu kan banyak
of,
diskon-diskon untuk
yeah,
beli
as like an
perangkat-perangkat kayak gitu.
as a nice capture for myself. So I should be able to be like my sister, so I can have a
Apa?
good life
Email
in
lo
the
apa berarti?
future.
Mr.
So
Gibo, your voice.
okay. So yeah, just like that, and still keep happening until now. And but I'm trying to like accepting the fact that my mom still did that. I'm not trying to blaming on her because I know she just wants the best for myself. So I always like say yes, yes, even though sometimes I try to say no, and we just having like some like a little bit like like a arguing at
Okay.
that point. So yeah, just like that. But yeah, I always try to remind myself that just my mom wanting the best for myself. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's good that for you, you're trying to be in control of what's going on in you and like just surrounding you.
Mhm.
And so, how does it change you over the years? Like, what is your behavior right now, in a bad or a good way, that changes you?
Mm, I think it changed a lot. I think myself has changed a lot because of that. I try to I know I understand like my mom just want the best for myself. So I think it does change me like being understand about what's going on with with my mom. Not only just blaming from what I see, but also try to understand what's going on, what's my mom have been through. So I know the story, what my mom have been through before she has me. So that's why she's just being restricted to me as well because of that story. So my mom was like kind of divorced at that when like in the first marriage. So that's why in the second marriage like she just quite restrict to his her children. So now it's just really changed to me because I'm trying to not really blaming on my mom, also myself. So I'm just trying to accept the fact like that. So, and it does one time I told my mom, and my sister actually told my mom, like, you shouldn't be like this, mom. Actually, that's not really good. And my mom like replied like this, like, oh, I just want the best for you guys, so that's why I did this everything for you. And no matter what happened, I just want everything for you, like the best. So I think it changed me like to being understand about my mom. So I used to not really understand my mom, but I think now I could 100% completely understand what's my mom having through and why does she did this to me. So I think that's has changed throughout the years.
Yeah, okay, so that's again the same case. Being compared, it's not always good. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, that kind of like being compared is a kind of conservative way of parenting, I would say, because
Uh-huh.
that's an old version of parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as a result of this, I think not everyone can be like you because being more understanding in replying or in responding to those situations and traumatic experiences, not everyone can do that. And
Yeah,
yeah, you're also
that's true.
better at understanding some facts about it. Like you can be more pure heart to be and more understanding to your little sister and mom. So if you were a parent or you're going to be a parent one day, right? What kind of
Yeah.
parenting would you apply to your kids? Of course not this parenting, this way of parenting, of course not.
Yeah, of course not. I would probably go with like no, not comparing my children, like my first children, my second children. I'm not gonna comparing them. I'm just gonna literally like following what is their talent and supporting them like 100% without compare them to my first child, to my second child like that. And I think that's how I will show my affection to them, not by comparing, but by supporting. I think that's the thing that I will do probably if I will become a parents in the future. So yeah, I think like that.
So you're not going to apply like the hitting, beating things kind of parenting way, right?
Of
Because
course
we
not. Yeah, I learned by this story, so I think I would probably not gonna implement if I will become a my parents in the future, obviously, because I feel that it's very hard to understanding about that
It's
situation, especially in your very young age. So I would probably completely not gonna do that to my children in the future. So yeah.
okay. Thank you very much for sharing this amazing story of yours. And we really appreciate your bravery here. Okay, so for all participants here, before we're going further into the next slide, I would like to ask each one of you to write one motivation word or just like one motivation letter. It doesn't have to be really long, it doesn't have to be short. It can be whatever you want as long as it's still a motivation or a quote. So since this meeting is being recorded, then we can share or like we can talk about the motivation, we can tell the motivation to the other people that might be watching this meeting in the future. So, yeah, at the end of this meeting, you guys are expected to read one motivation letter. It can be about you, or it can be like supporting other people who will, or like who are going through this situation. Do you guys agree with me? We can share motivation letters here. Do you guys understand?
Okay.
Okay. So, should we go next to the next slide, or should we have one person who would like to share their experience? Or any of you would like to share your experience that you don't mind sharing? Dedi Mustari, would you like to share your experience, traumatic experience or bad memory, any
Oh my
kind of
God.
it?
Am I audible right now?
Yeah, you're crystal clear.
Wow, thank you. I am. I use skincare a lot. That's the reason why. All right, thank you for the opportunity. So yeah, so growing up from the place where it's very, you can say it's a rural area, and having the parental tiger parenting style during my childhood life, as well as growing up in the place where the people are still very conservative, having their box of standard, create created the bullying mechanism during my childhood. So during my early years, I experienced consistent bullying from peers. Not only peers, that my family also supported, how they have the thought about me basically. So because I wasn't fitting into, well, I'm still am not fitting into certain standard of society. Like you can even hear from my voice that I'm quite feminine. So a lot of people used to call me faggot. I don't know if that's colloquial or that's impolite, but that's what they called me a lot when I was a child. And as well as, and at that times my family, especially my father, agreed that I was a faggot. And I think it was creating the like a soft mechanism of mine that I hate myself the most. I want to change myself. I want to be somebody else. And it created the the new version of Lady Mustari, which I believe right now I'm more into, like, I don't want to say, like, less care about somebody else. And I feel like I lost the feeling of loving somebody because I feel like I don't feel everyone cares about you nor anyone else. So if I have a problems, I will be the one who solve mine, and I don't think that somebody is responsible for my own happiness. So yeah, that's the effect of that standard that creates the constant bullying when I was a child. So yeah, I used to be called faggot until now. A lot of people will always like give a giggling or smirking whenever they see me walking because they call me faggot. A lot of things, saying that. And right now, I'm just I'm feeling nothing right now. We probably because I already died inside.
Oh
So,
wow, you already died inside. You rock that. You nailed it. So,
thank
like,
you.
I want to know this one thing. How did you feel when you were called faggot? Like angry, upset, or what?
When I was young, I felt a little bit like drawback, like somebody who feel like you're not, a part of something. You're not a part of the people, not a part of the community. So I feel like I was being bashed or being, marginalized, or what's that called? To be put in on the edge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like that I feel like I'm nobody. I feel like it's not myself until I figured that no matter where I go, no matter how hard I try to change myself, they will still find out how to mock me, how to finally finding out how to really, upset me. But these days,
Mhm.
it didn't really affect me right now. Even if they like talk shit about my physics, my behaviors, I will just let it go. I used to feel a little bit upset and feeling, you know, unwanted.
Okay, I must say that the art of being I don't care person type of person really works on you. Because look at you now. You are now like a different version of you, but a better person, I would say. Because not
Absolutely.
everyone can face that, of course. Anyone, I mean, anyone with a bad kind of thinking or a bad kind of parenting would go into a hole which way deeper and darker than who they are right now. So yeah,
True.
congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
all that really appreciate your story.
Yes. And I always believe that I don't need to tell myself I'm useless because I'm already, I already am. So that's my motivation words. Don't call yourself useless because you already are. So I know that's really strong, right? Like,
Right.
exactly. So rock it up. Thank you, Miss
So
Dia.
yeah, the next time you will be called the same thing again, or you'll be called worse than that faggot thing. I mean, so yeah, you're not gonna feel anything, right? Or do revenge? Nah, no, right? Okay, I think he is disconnected or something. Right, should we move on to the next slide? Okay. Okay, here you see that your brain tries to control. This is the part when we are going to talk a little deeper about brain. So as you know that our brain is the main organ that controls our body. So our body like it is controlled by our brain. Like the brain is a complex organ that controls the thought, memory, emotions, our our feelings, motor skills, or any visions, breathing, whatever we do, whatever going on, every process that regulates our body is being controlled by our brain. So, yeah, most of the functions of the memory are carried out by the hippocampus. That is the part of our brain that we know as hippocampus that controls our memory. So our brain tries to control the past, present, future, and that's how we connect to the past. That's how you guys can remember the bad memories that went on in your childhood memory. So, based on your POV, okay? Based on your childhood experience, other experiences of yours, what is the definition of trauma? As you can just hear from your friend's story or from any other stories of traumatic experience. Would any one of you would like to give your definition of trauma? Okay, Suchi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Okay.
So, we're going to talk about the
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you.
to hear. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, can you repeat it again? Because just before, maybe the connection of mine or yours, I
Sure,
can't really hear.
sure. Okay, so based on your POV, like based on your experience or any other people's experience, what do you think is the definition of trauma?
Okay. Yep. So actually, it is interesting because we are talking about the brain, which tries to control. But actually, for me, it's trauma. I don't know if there is any scientific explanation about this, but the trauma from my point of view is about the emotion. So it's just like emotional consequence from the horrible experience or bad experience or bad memories of our childhood or other experience which other experiences which we I don't know, like maybe it's not from our childhood. So for me, it's the emotion. Maybe it is controlled by the brain. So it's just like consequence of from that experience or memories, and then our body and then our mind react reacting like there's some kind of emotion like fear or uncomfortable things or yeah. And then about the fear and uncomfortable things that we felt, it's called trauma. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I really agree that any bad kinds of experiences that we went through or we are going through still, it is a sign of like how our trauma is not healed yet. But again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, would anyone else would like to read or express their opinion on the definition of trauma? Okay, Farah, what do you have to say about this? What is the definition of trauma according to you?
Well, hello. I'm sorry. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are clear.
Thank you so much. So, in my point of view, well, from all these things, from all of the things that I have passed and I have experiences in the past or the present and also future, I can't clearly see that trauma is something is connected to the past, present, and future because what has happened, whether it is like something's new experience or it's from your childhood is a long time ago, it still gives such an effect from the present, like the way you think, the way you act, and in the future, you will also think about like what will happen, what you're going through after you're facing this trauma. I think that's kind of things that I can define from the trauma itself. That's something from the past that still haunts you until today and uh, until tomorrow. I think that's what is trauma in my point of view, and I also consider that's really important to find something that can or make you get over it. At least try to reduce a little bit feeling of fear that always haunts you from time to time. I think that is trauma. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you are talking about the time, whether it still affects you or not, like in time. Thank you for that. I agree with that. So at a certain time when it still affects you, we can call it trauma, but not every bad memories is called trauma. So it depends on how long it stays in your memory, it stays affecting you, and that's how you call trauma is. Okay, should we move on to Mommy Malona? Are you there?
Hello, good evening.
Hello, yeah. Would you like to say something about the definition of trauma?
Okay, this is based on my experience. Yeah, when I was kids, I ever get bullied from my friend. It happened because I have a when have to move from my village to the city to Jakarta, so I have a problem with my communication. I couldn't adapt enough at the time. So my friend always laughed at me when I try to speak, and it make me feel shy, and it's the thing because of that my friend always try to bully me with my language like that, and it make me feel insecure, and it's happened to me until now. Sometimes in the several condition I feel insecure. I don't know, and I think that this is maybe because my trauma in the past. I think this is my point of view. You know, something happened for me in the past, and it still exists for me until now because of trauma.
Okay.
But
I'm really sorry for that. I really hope that you are healed now from that trauma.
yeah,
Yeah,
mhm. I'm mature enough now, and it's only happened when I'm in the several condition. For example, like what? Yeah, when yeah, random conditions. So I couldn't give specific time. Sometimes when I not in the good condition, or I'm tired, even though I when I want to talk in the in front of people, even I know the material, but in several conditions, maybe because I just feeling tired, I couldn't. It made me insecure, you know. And for another condition, when I try to speak in the public, uh, I feel insecure because a lot of reasons. So I think this is because of my trauma in the past. Yeah.
yeah, because of the bullying things, right?
And I become like an insecure person, I think.
Okay. Well, what I would like to say here is that being bullied results you to being really insecure.
Yeah,
Back
exactly
then,
right. So
I think you were much more stronger than ever, right? Do you agree
yeah,
with that?
you're
Do you know
right.
that you're stronger
Yeah,
now?
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. But sometimes we couldn't control our brain. Sometimes even though I'm mature now, and I know where is the bad thing, where is the good thing, I couldn't sometimes I can how to say it, I can control anything. But in the several condition, I don't know, maybe because of my anxiety or something, I don't know, it happened to me. I feel insecure like that.
Okay,
But yeah,
so the
you're
time
right.
when you are, I'm sorry.
Mhm. Pardon?
Okay, so the time you are being insecure, or like when you were insecure, did you feel like a little anger or kind of thing? Like a
Not
little
anger,
depression or anger
not anger, but
because you
I'm
are being
feel
insecure?
afraid. I feel afraid maybe because I know that maybe they'll good than me, and it makes me feel safe. Maybe I will do something wrong like that. Only that.
Okay, so let's put it here into the real time. When you were going to raise your hand, or when you were being called by me, did you feel afraid? Oh my God, I'm being called. What should I do? What am I going to talk about? Like, do you feel that?
You know, when I want to join in the OTA, I need to think many times. Am I am I able to join in OTA? Because my English is not really good. I also have a problem with my communication, and I yeah, and many more. So I think I tried to push myself to join in OTA. And this is not about I have to raise my hand, but when I want to join in OTA, I have to think many times like that.
Okay, let me tell you one important thing. Do you know that you are actually doing it right now? Like, you are much stronger, you are much braver right now. You're actually doing it. Like, you are not
Yeah, I have
alone.
to try.
Many of us are facing this kind of thing, this kind of insecurity. And there are also some of the times when I felt like I might be really insecure, but maybe not now. Maybe in the future. I don't know. Like, it depends on the level of what I'm gonna go through. So yeah, congratulations. You face that. I mean, you already face that. Look at you now. You're speaking freely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think
Thank
I'm
you.
done. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you so much. So,
Yeah.
should we go on, or any of you wants to share your opinions on this? Okay, if there's no one would like to share their opinion anymore, so would like to continue. Okay. Is it moving now, or it stays in the same slide? Okay, what about now? Right. So the next slide is talking about the correlation between brain and trauma. So as we know that the brain is the core control of our body, and that's how it captures every situation that we went through and we are going through right now. It's being captured in our brain. So that's how trauma and brain is being correlated to each other. But I would like to ask two of you or three of you about this one slide. What is the correlation between brain and trauma? Just according to the stories been told before. Prapti, are you there?
Yes, Miss.
Thank you. Okay, can you just express what you think about the correlation between brain and trauma?
Brain and trauma. As you mentioned before that brain is the main organ in our body, can control when we have like trauma or anxiety and etc. So brain and trauma is significance. I mean, it's very very related. Brain and trauma. So, sorry. I beg your pardon. What is your question? Actually, that's yeah. Actually, my English not so good enough. Is it maybe
Your
the
English
first
is very
time?
good.
That's the first time for me to give my opinion in OTA, I think. Usually, I just a listener. I ever join in OTA, just listener, and then amazed with you all because you can speak English well. But now you point me, make me so nervous. But thank you because you give me opportunity to give my opinion. I will try my best. Hopefully that you can understand what I talk about. Yeah. Okay, Miss.
It's
Can
fine.
you
It's
repeat
really
again?
fine. Yeah, so the question here is that what is the correlation between brain and trauma?
Oh, yeah. Brain and trauma. There is correlation, of course. Yeah. Again, because brain is main organ in our organ, and then can control what we experienced in the past, what event or incident in the past. So like keep in our brains, and then and then someday, one day, can that trauma in my from brain from brain to be trauma. So if we have like bad experience in the past, one day can relapse, kambuh relapse ya, can relapse. So
Okay.
yeah, can relapse. And for example, me actually I have trauma, but I don't know if this trauma, we call it trauma or no. For me, for example, maybe Miss Ade, can you give me trick how to heal my trauma? I cannot hear loud noises. When I hear loud noises, like when I hear motorcycle in player, wang wang wang, this make me like anger, make me more. I wanna be angry. And then when my husband fix motorcycle also, and then my husband try to like blayer also make me like I wanna be I wanna be angry. And I ever heard Marsanda said that signal one of the signal for bipolar person is cannot hear loud noises, and I'm so worried and afraid. Am I bipolar? But I don't hope so. Yeah, I don't. No, no, I don't want to be like bipolar person, but I hope that is normal. So maybe Miss Dia or the other, do you have case same with me? Please share how to heal,
The
how to
solution of
cure.
it.
Yeah, how to cure when we hear loud noises, and then we still keep stay calm, not anger. That's my opinion, Miss Dia. Thank you so much. And then hope I hope that you can give me trick how to heal my case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that story. Well, yeah, we're surely we're going to talk about this later on the next slide, because we are at the last of this meeting. We're going to talk about the solutions of it and how we can overcome it. Okay? You okay with that?
Okay, thank you, Miss. Okay, thank you.
Okay, really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, Miss Sophie Anand, you're raising your hand. What do you have to say here?
Actually, I just want to add a little things from Miss Prapti argument. I totally relate to you when you said that you got afraid and anxiety when you hear motorcycle loud noise, because I also experienced the same things in different cases. I got really shaking when someone slamming door. So whatever it is, when I in public area, or in house, or my friend's house, like someone slamming the door very hard, like I'm shaking and I can't talk for minutes. So I totally understand you. And yeah, I went to psychiatrist related to, not related to that thing, but um for so many things. I think I need a psychologist, like this is the time. And I think it always better to asking for help professionally, rather than guessing like what happened to me, and maybe just a little bit googling, and decided that, oh, I'm having this kind of disease. I think that's also dangerous. So thank you for Miss Prapti, who already share your experience and the way you're feeling, because probably you can reach uh, um it doesn't have to be professionally, actually, because yeah, maybe if you share with your close friends who really understand you, it could also make you feel better. But yeah, having professional help, it never wrong. It doesn't make you a crazy person just because you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist. It doesn't really make sense, actually. It means that you are aware to yourself, to your health awareness. Actually, you're a very cool person, I think. So thank you for sharing that, Miss Prapti, once again. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you so much for both of you for sharing this amazing story. But here I would like to add a little solution for that. So what I might be thinking right now, what I'm thinking right now is that the first thing you need to do here is stay away in the situation that has more potential for it to be happening. So when you see like many motorcycles and you're just afraid of it, so just stay away from that. I know we're a social human, but try to stay away from that. And then the second one here is that try to control your feelings. But if you are already in that situation, try to control your feeling, try to not to be afraid of that. So for sure, again, we go back to the brain. So our brain controls everything. But as long as you're not like, the more you're not get used to it, the more you will be not get used to it. Like you're not gonna get off of it. So the last thing here, I would say that face it if you don't want to like regret it in the future, because somehow as a human being here, we need to socialize with like others. So we need to go out and anything like at a certain time there will be always that situation that puts us in this kind of situation. So willy-nilly, you want it or not, you have to face it, you have to get used to it. That's so far that I can suggest you guys for this topic. Okay, so we are going to the next person here. I see Miss Yancy, are you there? Okay, I think something is wrong with the audio. Right, we move on to Dania. Are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, okay. What would you say about the correlation between brain and trauma?
Um, Actually, I have
Who's
something
according to you?
in my mind, but I don't know how to explain it in a sentence. So, as far as I know, the trauma mainly affect uh, of three important part of your brain. I don't know specifically which part, but as I remember, the first one is a part of brain that control our emotion and instinct, and the second is a part of brain that control the memory, and then the last one is the a part of brain that control our emotion and impulse. So the effect of trauma that affect the brain is, for example, uh, for my experience, I have some trauma that's make me difficult to remember, to memorize. So I almost forgot a lot of things happen in my life because I cut the memory because I don't want to remember about it, and the effect of it, I also difficult to remember. Also, the happy things happens. Sometimes maybe when I have like a holiday with my friends, and if we looking back about the story about it, I can't remember about it. I don't know why. Maybe that's one of the how to say like perlindungan diri ya, something like that,
Okay, to
of my
protect
brain
yourself.
to protect myself to for not remember a lot of things that hurts me. And also the trauma also affect my brain to control the emotion. Because of the trauma, maybe I'm more like have an anger issue, so I easily to anger if it's actually I can control myself to hate myself. Like if there's something it's not going as my plan, I met to myself, something like that, because I can control my emotion. That's why I need to drink some medicine and some pills to make it balance. Because the psychiatrist tell me that there is something wrong with my, how to say, like the hormone, the chemistry things in my brain. So that's some pills to make it balance. And it's really true that the trauma is really affect to your brain. It's really related.
Wow. What a story. So you're still experiencing that because you still have to consume your pills.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I'm really sorry for what you have to go through. And what do you have to do when you are like being out of control? Like, is there anyone to watch you?
Yeah. Actually, it's gonna be dangerous if I like stay alone in my room.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I cut my hands, but as because I have faced it like more than 2 years, so right now I more like know about the symptoms. If I feel that I'm not stable, like I can control myself, I will ask like a help for my friends just to stay close with me, something like that.
Oh yeah, okay, so they can prevent it from happening, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so what I can see from your issue here is that you're not satisfied enough, like the satisfaction going on in your mind, you're not satisfied enough with what's going on around you. So you just want to hit yourself or hit surrounding you. That's how I sometimes feel it too, but fortunately I can cover it because how did I cover it? It's because I gather myself with a lot of people, my family, my friends, and my siblings. So try to engage yourself into a conversation with others so that you will not feel like you're alone.
Yeah, it's actually one part of the trauma because I don't have like a good relation with my family, and that's why I difficult to have a good conversation with others because I think that if I told something that people can understand me, and it's usually happens. Yeah, and that's why I just like focus on the medicine and the psychiatry.
Okay, so it's you who is always understanding to your family. Like whatever they say, you just have to understand what they say. Is that how it is happening in your family? Like you're the one who has to understand the way they think.
Um, yeah, maybe it looks like that. I don't know. It's more complex than it because it's like
Yeah.
childhood traumatic. Yeah.
Yeah, the more you're not satisfied with what is going on around you, the more you will feel like I cannot handle this. It's just stuck in what my behavior is going to be like in few minutes later. So I hope you will soon heal from that. And I'm really sorry for what you have to go through.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you.
much for sharing it.
You're welcome.
Okay, we go to the next slide. Is it still the same slide or
Yeah.
already changed?
Oh, still same.
Okay, hold on. Right, what about now? Okay, so we are talking about the impact on the brain here. So there are several kinds of impacts on the brain here that I have written down. So the first one here is that the ability to learn. So as you guys already noticed from your friend's story, that some of them, or like a few of us, has lost our ability to learn. For example, the one that used to be hearing, the noise from the slamming door, or like the motorcycle, they used to be hearing it, but now they're not used to it. It's just because like they lost their ability to learn how that was in the past. And then the second one here is that to form memories, that, and the story that we just heard from our friend. So the more you want to forget the things, the more that thing will come in your mind. But on on the contrary, like the more you want to remember one important thing, the more you will forget it. So again, if the brain is damaged, your ability to form the memory is, like it will be slowly going faded away. And then the next one here is that to regulate your emotion, how to control your emotions. If your brain is being damaged, it is just affected by it. And then to learn again, it's back to the first point, to think and to respond flexibly, or in a random way, or and in a planned way. So the question here is that I want to ask, hold on. February, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, thank you for responding. So I would like to ask you two questions. Have you ever experienced any of these impacts on yourself?
The impact on brain.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
either the losing ability to learn, or you're having a difficult time about forming your memories or regulating your emotions. Have you ever experienced any of this?
okay. Uh, I would probably say that to form the memories related to the subject probably that I learned in the past. Maybe it's simply because uh, I am now working. Sometimes I didn't really, what do we call, use the prior knowledge that I had before. When it comes, when sometime it comes in my present day, then what it's totally hard for me to what do we call, to recall the memories that exactly the thing that I only know. Yes, I know this thing, but I didn't really know about this clearly. Obviously, things like this. So that's why uh, that's the reason I, what do we call? I finally need more times to deal with this kind of things to form the memory. The second one is probably uh, to to think. Yes,
Okay.
think. Oh, I don't know. It's to think, or I only have one. I think to form the memories. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine. You are free at expressing whatever you have in your mind. So
Mm,
how worse it can be, or how bad it can be. For example, you are having a meeting right now, right? So you're on this meeting. Will you forget this meeting, whatever is going on in this meeting, in the next few hours? Or will you still remember about it? I just want to
it's
how
mm,
strong you will form your memories.
yes, because I realized that I'm the one of person that has a short memory, I could say. Whenever I learn something and I don't use it, I mean, in a practice, I mean, like in my daily basis, I usually easy. I'm easy to forget all the things, including about smithing. The thing that I maybe remembers about the smithing is the what do we call someone who can make a special, what do we call, not piece, kesan. I don't know kesan in English, but that's thing usually impression, who get a special impression to me, and then okay, I know this person from this meeting. So that's about the materials, uh, because especially OTA, I think some of materials are repeatable. So sometimes when I have to talk about this kind of things, so I just need to, what do we call, this is actually has already uh, been learned couple weeks ago. So I just need to, what do we call, to find the right vocabularies or things that I need to know about this. I think that's the only thing I can share.
Okay, so the time when you cannot remember like a certain memory, how would you feel about it? Angry? Don't know about it? Like don't know what to do or what? Like the time when like you don't remember it.
Okay. Basically, when it's not about my job or my obligation as a worker, then I don't really give, what do we call, attention on it. Just let it go. It's fine. It's totally fine because let's say that joining OTA is one of my uh, learning process that I believe, my learning process to learn English, to have a fluency on my speaking. So whenever I didn't get the things, and I'm kind of doing some mistakes because I don't remember. Basically, it was already explained by the moderators that I cannot use this one. I cannot use this one. It's better to go with this kind of things, or it's better to use the another expression when we want to have a debate or something else. But uh, when I do it again, uh, I don't really feel that I need to be angry. No, that kind of things. Or I'm trying too hard to memorize, or I'm trying too hard to recall my memory. Not that kind of thing as well. I just let it go. So what's pop up in my mind, and then what's can I deliver? That's actually what I want to say. That's the only thing that, okay, that's the process, or the, what do we call, the limit that I can give for this day. That tomorrow I hope that I can be better. So that's the thing. Thank you.
Okay, so I would say that you're still in the normal phase and level of like forming the memories, because not everyone you can remember from this meeting, but like the most impressive one, and like not every single name that you can remember the next time. Well, yeah, it's still on the normal level, I guess. It's not that much worse, I guess.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, the last person on this slide, I would like to call Mr. Ferdian.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for responding. So the question here is that, have you ever experienced any of these impacts? Like we have the losing ability to learn, having difficult time to form memories, to regulate emotions, to learn, to think, to respond. Have you ever experienced any kind of this?
Yes, I have. Well, to be frank, I had been dealing with my post-traumatic stress disorder for the last 10 years by only thinking about death, and it's been so troublesome for me, because I have seen people, in my family, I have seen people, dying and being buried, and my heart was really, broken by about, those events. And for the last 10 years, I kept thinking about why I should live, in a mortal life, why I should choose death, you know, to live, because I have to take my responsibility to the God for what I've done in a worldly life. And you know, my only way out at the time was about finding the truth, the truth that could enlighten me as a ordinary human being who needs, a guidance, who needs, the light, in the end of the tunnel. And it happened, when my grandmother passed away. I once asked her before her end, begged her to explain why, again, why she chose to live in a mortal life, why she chose death. And she said, like, Ferdinand, accepting that is the only act of true power in the universe. And I
Yeah.
felt storm out. I felt storm out. My heart was broken. I didn't understand at all, not then. But as I grew up, become an adult, I really comprehended what she meant by saying that. Yes, I do believe that. You know, she also added by saying you've got to believe in God. Death it's only
That's true.
yeah, that is only, accepting that, yeah, is the true act, in the universe, the only power in the universe, that we have to accept it. And I started to accept death is not supposed to be prevented, because it will come to us, no matter how how hard you try to deny from that reality. And and then I came to a conclusion when I read, the holy book. I believe, because I'm Muslim, and it is said that, death is the only beginning, is the beginning of life. It's only the beginning of life. There's no suffering, there's no death, there's no anxiety. Those events are regrettable, but it will be left behind us, eventually. So yeah, okay, so I'm trying to accept I'm just a human being, and that will come to me. And what I would like to prepare is, how can I face that death, and how can I make my own destiny to be favored by God when I face Him, and being responsible with my course of actions. So yeah, I still remember that word from my grandmother. Yeah, accepting that is the only act of true power in the universe. So okay, so it's so powerful. That sentence was very powerful. And then she died. And after then, like only like 10 minutes later, she died. And all the family members were in the were in the mornings. We felt like, okay, so she, at least, she said something that was so meaningful to us, as a kindly reminder that we have to, you know get um
Yeah.
we have to be more aware about ourselves, and how can we, and how it is, we live in this world, not only focusing on yourself, but how can we be so valuable for our surroundings, in many ways, particularly like both spiritually and also socially. Like, yeah, this is absolutely imperative. Yeah.
Well, I think it has to do, like, it has something to do with the religion that you're believing.
Yeah.
So, of how you see the afterlife, of how you believe the afterlife. Is it really existent or not? So, it has something to do with your religion. Right, thank you.
Mhm.
And so, the time when you were thinking about death, Do you feel did you feel the world is narrow to live in?
Oh, absolutely. My life has been so cheerful. I mean, my childhood was so absolutely fantastic. But I didn't know why. Every time I came to the funeral and seeing a person, a dead body being buried, on the ground, I felt kind of like, what's the reason of this? I was 10 at the time. I was 10 years old at the time. But what is the reason of this? I wasn't that religious, thinking about why God took people's souls, and we had to be responsible with our course of actions. It only it kept circling around my mind, thinking about that kind of event, and thinking that what kind of death you know w- would come to me, and what kind of event that will lead me to that death. And will it be like a very pleasant death, or a very horrible death that you could have ever imagined, as a human being. And when I found the truth from the Holy Book, like from the Quran, like all of things being answered, your only duty, like any God says, you have to remember your duty as a human being. You have to remember your role as a human who obeys the God as one of his creatures. Like, oh yeah, so doing the things that he asks you to do, and you know try to prevent disputes, try to prevent um any bad things, as long as as long as you can, from with your capacity. So yeah, okay, like at the age of 10 years, my way of thinking was quite extremely um changing. I think changing, from the ordinary a teenager at a time. So for I think this is kind of like a transition of being mature, and the maturity that leads you to comprehensive reality about life. That life is not as simple as that. It's not as simple as thinking about yourself, but you have to deal with other people, and what you have done to other people, and what people have done to you, and how can you be accountable with that. This is absolutely fantastic, if we can think deeply about it, and observe things that are happening to us. It all happens because of the causes you created.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm.
So, yes, a lot of things are going on in our lives. People are dying, and we have to face it. And sometimes it's like it leads us to start questioning, what is the purpose of our life? Why do we have to face this? And another questions that we cannot answer by our own. So, yeah, you need an expert. Like, if you ever question yourself, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of humans' creation? Why do we feel traumatized? We really should need to go to the expert. But if you're trying to figure it out yourself, then you can try it as well. But I hope you will not be misled by that information. Okay, thank you so much for sharing this amazing story, and I hope you can heal from that. Right. Should we move to the next slide? Yeah, I think we're going close to the end here. Oh, Yancy, you're raising your hands. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, my opinion. What was the question actually about? I didn't really know about the question before when that man got the question and he answered that related to holy books, Quran, and something about life, why we humans should live, something like this. What was the question?
So the question was, have you ever experienced any of these impacts? So one of his kind of impacts is that he was experiencing death, like to think that death will always come when he thinks that way. So that's why he started thinking of like what is the
Mm,
purpose of life and all those stories about his grandma as well. So would you
okay.
like to say something?
So related to Quran, because I also read Quran because it's my religion too. So I just want to share my opinion about that thing. Can I?
Okay, go ahead. Sure.
Okay. So here about talking about like why humans should be created, right? Like that and Allah said in Quran that you should like Allah said about worship him, but it's really like a short words actually. But Quran is not science book, right? But it's sign book. Is that my pronunciation clear? Science and sign. Okay, I think that you got my point. So
Yeah.
what I get here when Allah said that worship me like that, when you worship me, it doesn't mean just we just take prayer or fasting or do good things to God or to humans. But I thought that when my mind thought like that, what I thought it was about human come to the earth it just because for to create civilization, to create peace. Yeah, and make well, I don't know that in English, but in Arabic it's like to be Halifa. I think that like leading something like this. And yeah, sure, make civilization, technology and everything like that. And make yeah, it's also included of worshiping actually. So it's not just like doing solid or prayer or fasting. No, it's a more than just worship. It's really amazing. Like many meaning in that into that. So I think it's like that, and not just that. In my opinion, I know that we know that life is not easy, right? And there are many religions in this world too. But as I know that all religions taught us to be better, and there are many things like in internet like make Christian Muslims they each other like fight each other. I think that we should not be affected because of those comments, and just because of that we should be better humans and just follow what we want to follow. I think like that. It's just my opinion.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
Thank you
Diana.
very much. Thank you. I thank you for sharing this opinion. And I agree that God didn't create us except for